flows.
And no birds ever sing, except that thing, old crows. It's the streets of the lifted Lorax.
And deep in the griddle grass, some people say, if you look deep enough, you can still see today.
Where the Lorax once stood, just as long as he could.
Before somebody lifted the Lorax away.
From deforestation to oil spills, to a kind word or a smile we give a stranger, each one of us needs to take responsibility for the impact our choices have on the lives around us.
Unless we come to see that we do not inherit the earth from our grandparents,
but borrow it from our grandchildren.
Unless we realize that our actions define us.
Unless someone like you cares a whole awful lot. The damage we do is not going to end.
It's not! The Lorax.
Book by Dr. Seuss.
Additional music by Stefani Germanata. What was the Lorax? And why was it there? And why was it lifted and taken somewhere?
From far end of town where the griddle grass grows.
The old onceler still lives there.
Ask him. He knows.
You won't see the onceler. Don't knock at his door.
He stays in his lurkum on top of his store.
He lurks in his lurkum, cold under the roof.
Where he makes his own clothes out of myth muttered in the moon.
And on special date midnights in August, he peeks out of the shadows. And sometimes he speaks.
And tells how the Lorax was lifted away.
He'll tell you. Perhaps.
If you're willing to pay.
On the end of a rope he lets down a tin pail, and you have to toss in
15 cents and a nail. And the shell of a great-great-grandfather snail.
Then he pulls up the pail and makes most careful count to see if you've paid the proper amount.
Then he hides what you've paid him away in his snub, his secret strange hole in his dwarfless glove. Then he grunts.
I will call you by whisper-a-phone, for the secrets I tell you are for your ears alone.
Down slops the whisper-a-phone to your ear, but the old onceler's whispers are not very clear.
Since they have to come down through a snurgly hose. And he sounds as if he has the smallish bees up his nose.
Now I'll tell
He
you
says with his teeth sounding gray.
how the Lorax got lifted and taken away. It all started back. Such a long time back. Way back in the days when the grass was still green, and the pond was still wet, and the clouds were still clean, and the song of the Swami Swans still rang out in space.
One morning I came to this glorious place, and I first saw the trees, the truffula trees, the bright-colored tufts of the truffula trees, mile after mile in the fresh morning breeze. And under those trees, I saw brown barbaloons, frisking about in their barbaloon suits, as they happily lived eating truffula fruits. And from the windowless pond came the comforting sound of humming fish humming while splashing around. But those trees! Those truffula trees. All my life I've been searching for trees such as these. The touch of their tufts was much softer than silk.
And they had the sweet smell of fresh butterfly milk.
I felt a great leaping of joy in my heart.
He knew just what he'd do.
I unloaded my cart, and in no time at all, I built a small shop. And I chopped down a truffula tree with one shot. And with great skillful skill,
And with great speedy speed,
I took that soft tuft, and I knitted a need. The instant I finished, I heard a thud. I looked, and I saw something strange pop out of the stump of the tree I had chopped down.
It was sort of a man.
Describe him.
That's hard.
I don't know if I can.
he was shortish.
And oldish?
And brownish. And mossy.
And he spoke with a voice that was sharpish.
And bossy. Stir.
Said with a sawdusty sneeze.
I am the Lorax. I speak for the trees. I speak for the trees, for the trees have no tongues, and I'm asking you, sir, at the top of my lungs.
He was very upset.
Shouted.
And what? That thing you made out of my truffle tuft.
Oh, look, Lorax, I said, there's no cause for alarm. I've chopped just one tree. I'm doing no harm. I'm being quite useful. This thing is a thanid, and a need is a fine something that all people need.
It's a shirt. It's a sock. It's a glove. It's a hat. But it has other uses.
Yes, far beyond that.
You can use it for cardboard pillows, seat, or curtains, or cover screw bicycle seats.
The Lorax
Sir! You are crazy with great. There is no one on earth who would buy that fool Sneed.
But the very next minute, I proved he was wrong. For just at that minute, a check came along. And he thought the Sneed I had knitted was great.
And he happily bought it for $3.98.
I laughed at the Lorax. You poor, stupid guy. You never can tell what some people will buy.
I'm perfect.
Why the Lorax?
For the trees.
I'm busy, I told him. Shut up, if you please.
He rushed across the room and in no time at all built a radio phone.
I put in a quick call.
Buongiorno.
Good night, night.
Guten Tag.
I called all my cousins and uncles and aunts, and I said, listen here, here's a wonderful chance for the whole Wutzler family to get mighty rich. Get over here fast.
Take the road to North Ness.
Turn left in the pocket.
Shot right at
South Stitch.
And in no time at all in the factory I built, the whole Wutzler family was working full tilt. We were all knitting sneeze, just as busy as me.
The sound of the chopping of chocolate trees.
Then, oh, baby, oh, how my business did grow. Now chopping one tree at a time was too slow. So, beep, beep. I quickly invented my super axe hacker, which could whack 4 truffle trees at one smacker. We were all knitting 4 times as fast as before, and that Lorax, he didn't show up anymore. But the next week he knocked on my new office door.
Mr. Wutzler, there's Mr. Lorax here to see you.
Beep! I speak for the trees, but you seem to be jumping as fast as you like.
It's a hat, but it has other uses, ladies and gentlemen, yes.
But I'm also in charge of the brown barbaloots. Late in the shade in their barbaloot suits and happily eating truffle fruits, but now you're chopping my trees to the ground. There is not enough truffle fruit to go around. 4 barbaloots, all getting the crummies because they have that and no food in their tummies. They love living here, but I can't let them stay. They'll have to find food, and I hope they make. Good luck, boys.
He cries.
He sent us away.
Every once in a while, I sit down with myself, asking,
Wutzler, why are you a Wutzler?
and I cringe. I don't smile, as I sit there on trial, asking,
Aren't you ashamed, you old Wutzler? The things that you do are completely ungood.
yeah, but if I didn't do them, then someone else would.
That is a very good point.
Mr. Wutzler.
I, the Wutzler, felt sad as I watched the barbaloots go. But
Business is business, and business must grow.
regardless of crummies and tummies, you know, I meant no harm. I most truly did not. But I had to grow bigger. So bigger I got.
He biggered his factory.
He biggered his roads.
He biggered the wagons.
He biggered the loads.
Of the needs I shipped out, he was shipping them forth to the south, to the east, to the west,
To the north.
I've been right on biggering, selling more. And I figured my money,
Which everyone needs.
Then again he came back. I was fixing some pipes. When that old nuisance Lorax came back with more than pipes. Wutzler!
Cried with a crumpled stroke.
Beep! Wutzler, you're making some small yellow smoke. My poor swami swans? Why? They cannot sing a note! No one can sing who has smog in his throat. And so, said the Lorax. Pardon my cough. They cannot live here, so I'm sending them off. Where will we go? I don't hopefully know. They may have to fly. sloppy schlop. And what do you do with this wet no-no? Well, I'll show you, you dirty old Wutzler man, you! You're glumping the pond where the humming fish come. They come, for their gills are all gone. So, I'm sending them. Oh, their future is dreary. They'll walk on their fins and get woefully weary in search of the water that isn't so smeary.
I hear things are just as bad in Lake Erie.
And then I got mad. I got terribly mad. I yelled at the Lorax. Now listen here, Dad. All you do is yap, yap, and say bad, 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 bad.
Well, I have my rights.
And I'm telling you that I intend to go on doing just what I do. And for your information, you Lorax, you, I'm figuring on biggering and biggering and biggering and biggering, turning more truffle trees into needs, which everyone needs. And at that very moment, we heard a loud whack.
From out in the fields came the sickening smack of an axe on a tree.
Then we heard the tree fall. The very last truffle tree of them all. No more trees.
No more needs.
No more work to be done. So, in no time, my uncles and aunts, everyone, all waved me goodbye.
Now all that was left neath the bad-smelling sky.
Was this big empty factory? Lorax.
And I
The Lorax said nothing.
just gave me a glance. Just gave me a sad backward glance. And I'll never forget the grim look on his face when he hoisted himself up and took leave of this place.
Through a hole in the smog.
Without leaving a trace. And all that the Lorax left here in this mess.
Was a small pile of rocks.
With one word.
Unless.
Whatever that meant, I just couldn't guess.
But that was long ago.
Way back in the days when the grass was still green and the pond was
Still
wet
And the clouds were still clean.
Every once in a while, I sit down with myself, asking,
Onceler, why are you a onceler?
and I cringe. I don't smile as I sit there on trial, asking,
Aren't you ashamed, you old onceler? The things that you did
Completely.
were completely ungood.
Aren't you ashamed?
and if I hadn't done them, then someone else would. But that was long ago.
And each day since that day, I've sat here and worried away.
Through the years, while my buildings have fallen apart, I've worried about it with all of my heart, but
But
now that you're here, the word of the Lorax seems
perfectly clear.
Unless someone like you. Unless someone like you cares a whole awful lot.
Nothing's going to get better. It's not.
so catch.
Help Onceler, he let something fall.
It's a truffle seed.
It's the last one of all.
You're in charge of the last of the truffula seeds. And truffula trees are what everyone needs.
Plant new truffula. Treat it with care.
Give it clean water and feed it fresh air.
Grow a forest.
And protect it from axes that hack.
And the Lorax and all of his friends
Might come back.